My name is Rachel Samson. I'm the Research Director for Clean Growth at the Canadian Institute for Climate Choices. Our definition of clean growth is that it's inclusive economic growth that reduces greenhouse gas emissions, strengthens resilience to a changing climate, and improves the well-being of Canadians. It's a way of thinking about these challenges together as opposed to separately. Right now, we measure climate change, economic growth, and well-being separately. For climate change, we focus on greenhouse gas emissions. For economic growth, we focus on GDP. And for well-being, we consider metrics like jobs or income. This is a problem. We can no longer afford to think about these things separately when we know they are so interconnected. We know that the world is changing. It's going through a global low-carbon transition, and this transition will impact Canada's economy. So unless we start to think about these things together, about how to support both economic growth and addressing climate change, we won't succeed at either. So a changing climate is increasing the frequency and intensity of extreme weather events. Things like wildfires. The wildfire in Fort McMurray, Alberta, for example, costs between $5 and $9 billion. This affects individuals as well, and particularly low-income individuals. Costs increase. Things like household premiums go up after a major wildfire event, and this can make housing unaffordable for some of the lower-income Canadians. So addressing those costs, addressing those vulnerabilities is part of building resilience to a changing climate. In our report, we propose 11 clean growth indicators. Each indicator connects climate change with economic growth or well-being in some way. By doing this, we provide a compass of sorts for governments to point them in the direction where new or better policy may be needed in order to address some of the challenges. It's a tool that governments can use to identify where policy might be needed. It can show where there are gaps in the current approach and where change may need to be accelerated in order to achieve the desired outcomes. Canada is making gradual progress on clean growth. We see this in the decoupling of economic growth from greenhouse gas emissions. Poverty rates are coming down, which is improving resilience to a changing climate. Air pollution is also decreasing, which is improving the health of Canadians. However, the more important question is whether it's happening fast enough. We used to think about the environment and the economy as balancing. The problem with that is that it implies a trade-off. It implies in order to get more environmental progress, you need to accept less economic growth. Clean growth is a different perspective. It tries to achieve both simultaneously and minimize the trade-off. And we know there are ways to do that. Technology, innovation, smart policies, finding new sources of growth that are consistent with low-carbon transition. These can help achieve both our economic growth goals and our climate change goals. Within the context of the pandemic and the recession, clean growth is more important, not less important. We know that if we delay climate change action, that our economy and the well-being of Canadians will be worse in the future. So we need to think about how we can achieve all of these things together, to look at achieving our short-term objectives in terms of managing and recovering from the pandemic, but also looking long-term and finding solutions that work also for our climate change objectives.